Welcome to World News by Denis Halandzovskyi. If you value calm, fact-based, and thorough reporting on global developments, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share your thoughts. Today, we bring a detailed breakdown of President Volodymyr Zelensky's recent diplomatic engagements in Berlin, including sensitive discussions on peace negotiations with Russia. In Berlin, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky held a series of high-level meetings with European leaders and representatives, including dialogue with the United States ambassador. Central to these discussions was the subject of peace negotiations with Russia, a topic that has gained renewed global attention as the war enters another phase with both military and diplomatic pressures. Zelensky reiterated that Ukraine remains committed to pursuing peace, but only on terms that uphold its sovereignty, territorial integrity, and security. He emphasized that any negotiations must be grounded in international law and respect Ukraine's internationally recognized borders. While peace is the ultimate goal, Zelensky stressed that it cannot be achieved through hasty or inadequate compromises that would undermine Ukraine's fundamental rights or reward aggression. European partners in Berlin voiced their support for Ukraine's position, but also signaled the enormous complexity of translating diplomatic intentions into actionable frameworks. Leaders acknowledged that peace requires both security guarantees and accountability for violations of international norms. There was a shared understanding that negotiations with Russia, if they happen, must result in sustainable, enforceable outcomes rather than ephemeral truces or temporary ceasefires. The U.S. ambassador, present in Berlin as part of ongoing diplomatic coordination, brought a message of continued engagement, but also emphasized the need for pragmatic sequencing. He reiterated that serious peace discussions require not only political will, but also credible leverage, including military deterrence and robust defense capabilities supplied by Ukraine's allies. The ambassador's framing underscored that talks without substantive security backing may be premature, and that the cost of a premature settlement could be an unstable, fleeting peace. Importantly, the tone in Berlin was neither dismissive nor defeatist. Rather, it combined urgency with caution. European leaders made clear that while the desire for peace is universal, the conditions under which peace is pursued matter just as much, if not more, than the desire itself. Their public statements sought to balance diplomatic pressure with strategic patience, emphasizing that peace must be anchored in justice, not expediency. The diplomatic exchanges in Berlin carry significant implications both for Ukraine's immediate war strategy and for broader international relations. For Ukraine, the emphasis on securing peace on just terms reflects a pragmatic understanding of the risks of concessions. Throughout the conflict, Ukrainian leadership has consistently warned against negotiations that would freeze the status quo in favor of Russian interests. A peace agreement that fails to ensure a withdrawal of occupying forces or security guarantees could leave the country vulnerable to renewed aggression. The Berlin talks demonstrate a shared concern among Western partners. European governments understand that simply ending hostilities without addressing core issues, including territorial restoration, reconstruction commitments, and long-term security frameworks, would risk instability not only in Ukraine, but across the entire region. The discussions also highlight the evolving role of the United States. The ambassador's statements in Berlin reinforced that U.S. policy remains tied to both diplomatic engagement and strategic support. This dual focus on conditional diplomacy plus material backing is central to Western approaches, especially as debates about military assistance and long-term commitments intensify in Washington. Another key dimension is the message these talks send to Russia. By emphasizing unity among Western partners on the condition for peace, namely security guarantees and respect for sovereignty, Ukraine and its allies are communicating that negotiations are possible, but not on terms dictated solely by force. Critically, the Berlin meetings also reflect the broader geopolitical reality. Peace will not be imposed quickly or easily. It requires layered diplomacy, cross-continental coordination, and alignment among allies whose strategic cultures differ. European leaders seek to maintain unity while also recognizing the domestic pressures they face. Ukraine, for its part, remains determined to shape the terms of any dialogue with Russia, insisting that its freedoms and territorial integrity are not negotiable. The diplomacy in Berlin signals that the search for peace is ongoing and that negotiations will likely continue to evolve, in formal settings, behind closed doors, and through a web of allied coordination. Ultimately, the outcome of these discussions will influence not only the future of Ukraine, but the broader stability of Europe and the global commitment to principles of sovereignty and international law. Thank you for watching this analysis on World News by Denis Halandzovskyi. If you found this breakdown informative, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share your perspective. Independent reporting and thoughtful discussion help us navigate complex global developments. Stay informed and see you in the next update.